All right, so we will say good evening, everybody. Welcome to our last tour of faiths that we have for this year of July 2021. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and also for those of you that have been with us for many tours so far this month. If you're like me, I have learned quite a bit. And I said to Shayla, bring us home now, because I know she's been on almost all of them. So I'm going to turn this over to Shayla. Shayla started watching a lot of our Zoom last year, and she's over in the Charleston area, and she's quite busy doing a lot of different interfaith work over there. And so we want for you to go ahead and teach us about the Hindu faith.
Yeah, I said a tour of faiths, and I said Sanatan Dharma. I'll tell you about
Yes.
that a little bit later.
I figured you can let everybody know that it's not really Hindu.
And it is actually not a faith either. And I'll tell you scientifically. Anyway, this is my things. I'm Shaila Shroff, etc., etc. I'll use this, just give an attention to it, okay? That I'm so and so. This is our Hindu temple. I took the older slide because right now it is under construction, and this Hindu temple thing is on the front, and this steeple is not there anymore. So let's see, this is how it is. The staple is removed and put a thing which is Hindu, which is used basically, it's like a upside down water jar, okay? But it is supposed to divert the electric volt, and that's why they should not be. This is scientifically, we have a great science of how to build things, especially started from temple, and then how to build a temple, fireplaces and stuff like that. And then this is one of the things you will see most of the temple. On the top, you will see this thing, which is a metal upside down kind of water jug that we call it. We call it kalash. And sometimes on the top, there is a flag of something or the other, okay? And this is our emblem, which looks like this. This is the great Om written in Sanskrit. You will start that people meditate on Om and all that. That's this sign Om, and this is in our emblem. Call it Hindu Temple, Charleston. When you go inside the temple, there is this room. It is the shoe rooms. We remove our shoes when we go into sectorium and sectum. But remember that you don't wear your shoes inside. Sometimes they don't even like you to use covers, but socks are allowed. This is the library, a lot of books there about everything. Joanne has given, donated a lot of her library books here. So we have all sorts of books, and I will tell you later. Okay, this is the library. There is a hall where we eat and have cultural programs. And in addition to that, when you go to the temple, you want to look at the many pictures, framed pictures on the sides. They are basically of what we call is God's Leela. Leela is a word for when God comes in and lives among us. Whatever he does is called Leela. We live our life, but he plays his Leela. It's like a game. It's like a drama. He participates in drama. Okay, so they are called Leelas. So you have pictures of those Leelas on both sides. Hinduism is a very big thing. So I'm just going to touch upon. So if you have a specific question, you can ask me later, but otherwise I'll go sort of fast. But we have a library, it's open, anybody can go. When you go to take your shoes off, you go to this place. This is the old picture. You will see that 2021, it is, I took it from calendar because it has these pillars in the center here, which divide all the displays. So these are different idols, you call it, but these are different. We call it vigraha of the gods. There are many gods in there and goddesses. These are all the goddesses. So I want you to give just a look at, remember that there are many of the goddesses. So it is not only one god or one goddess. We are a lot of gods, lot of goddesses. And I just want to, and these are like banana leaves, and these are some corn. And it is because they were praying certain goddess, which gives you food. But banana leaves are one of the sacred things. We decorate them. This is our new priest. He's doing the prayers. We have, did you see that the pillars are gone here? Because they realized that when they do the rituals, all people cannot see because of the pillars. So they took the pillars out. And I don't have that picture, maybe I do. And this is one of the gods. And this is another little decoration here, because many times we do prayers for different gods on this particular platform. And on behind, you will see different god, but they may be doing pujas. We call our rituals as pujas to different gods.
I think I might remember the last time that it was like that. Or I know the Vedic Center in Greenville has pillars, has big, large pillars, and depending on where you are on the ground, sometimes you can't see.
So we are remodeled, and we took the pillars out because they look good, but they cannot show the whole thing. This is one of the ritual going. It gives you come from this side, okay? You take your shoes out there and you walk in. There are these are big areas. That's why we can accommodate up to 300 people here, because people sit on the floor. It's okay for us to sit here. And these are for older folks. We have to pews like that. This was a church, and we changed it into a temple. We bought a church and then remodeled it. So this is one of the ritual going on. It is a ritual for this guy. But I took this picture just to show you how it looks from inside. This family was showing this particular show to India, so they have a Zoom there going on. We have a lot of things that happen that we Zoom it. Okay, this is about our temple, and I wanted to show you not all temples are that modest, changed from a church. This is a church. This is a temple from Atlanta. If you go to Atlanta, I would request you. You should have. It's a pleasure to your eyes. It's one of the monuments. It's done all in marble, and the marble was a lot of work went into it, and almost every inch of it is sculpture. So it is way beyond Taj Mahal, you can say. And it is built just recently, I mean, last 10 years, 20 years ago. And they got this marble from Italy, took it to India. A lot of sculpture was done there. And then they got it here in America. And then to Atlanta. It is in Lilburn in Atlanta. But if you go to Atlanta, just make it a point. It is a beautiful, beautiful structure. And it is built on what we call is our Vastu Shastra. Shastra means science. And we refer all our religious books as not holy books. We call them Shastra. When I want to say something which I'm taking from particular, I call it our Shastra says. Shastra means basically science. Shastra in Sanskrit means sciences. So this is done on Vastu Shastra. There are no adhesive used in there. These little, you have to go and see it. I cannot tell you enough. But these all things are interlocked between the different stones. So there is nothing holding it like cement or something. They are all in pure marble. And look at this. They have these little flags on the top. You see that?
I just went to Atlanta last week. I wish I would have known
Oh,
this. I would have
you go
stopped to
there,
see.
you would love it. It is better. I mean, I shouldn't say better, but when you go inside, don't forget to see the top. This is one of the Diwali function. These are all lights there. They have some floodlights, usually spotlights, and these things are all sculptured beautifully. Their figures, uh, fantastic. And this is lights because of the Diwali function that they had, but that is inside of this temple in Atlanta. And I just thought
Wow.
from New Jersey. New Jersey has built this. This is opened last year or something. What they did is there is an outside temple because they realized they started with Houston. These are called BAPS, BAPS temples. And this is from New Jersey, and the whole temple is within a structure, which itself is a beautiful building. You understand? It's a huge complex. And most of them have a vegetarian food cafeteria, almost all the time. So
Right.
even though they are a little bit outside New Jersey, you can always go there. This is one of the old Indian temples. Temples were pride of kings and queens. So this is a temple, and they are all rested on the pillars. So how many pillars are there is an important number, they say. And this they tell you about. This is a Rameshwar. You come on this side and you see almost at the point that, and they are so symmetrical, so beautiful. And these are all stone, and they are also built on Vastu Shastra. They take the east west the magnetic meridians, and they think they are powerful. Okay, in short, but they are done with lot of science in it, and these are also not connected with any adhesive. And this may be there 12th century. This is another temple which is built about 70 years ago. I just wanted to tell you that this temple is built also the same way. It is on sort of west coast of. This particular temple was invaded by Muslim Sultan 17 times or 16 times. This is rebuilt 17th time because it is a very important location for the god which is built, and it has to connect something with the south point of India, which is where all three seas all three seas confligate, they come together, they meet each other. The rivers meeting together or water meeting together is a big auspicious place for us. So this is a Somnath Temple, which is recently built. Recently means some of our temples are like 2,000 over 2,000, 3,000 years old. One of the things where Islam was coming, and Portuguese, they are good at destroying the temples. But I would say, oh, what a beautiful structure. You should not, it is a World Heritage thing. You should just let them be there, because the government comes and they go, but the structures stay there, and just killing it, you can't kill the spirit. So anyway, this particular temple is there. It's Somnath Temple. This was invaded the most because there is an ocean, and you will come from ocean at wrong time, middle of the night, you will bring people and they will destroy. One of the reasons is because we pray idols, and also we pray idols also. That's one of the way to pray gods. And Islam basically do not accept idols. the reason they used to come to Indian temples is because of gold and the riches there inside the temples. Okay, now these are all about the temples. Tour of faith. So I'm here going to tell you, Bharat is the name of my country. So if you go about 600 years ago, all our scriptures that we call do not have Hindustan or India in it, because these names are given. India is British call it India, and I don't know why. And then Hindustan is what Western people call. Hindu is a river called Sindhu, and they mispronounce it as Hindu. And Hindustan, like Pakistan, Afghanistan, people who live there, Stan is a place. Stan is actually Sanskrit word, but it is used by other countries also. Kazakhstan, or all those stan at the end means the place where people live. And they call it Hindu. That time, anybody who lives beyond that river Sindhu was called Hindustan. And that Sindhu river is now in Pakistan. So all that area, all these people are called Hindustan, and that's why our religion was called Hindu. But around that time, we have all other religions. We have Christianity, we have Parsi, you have all the kinds of religions in India. In fact, if you want to know, there are about 72 different Muslims factors, what you call denominations in Islam, Muslims. But by little difference, they have one Muhammad, one book, but still they have like Shia and Sunnis, and there are about 40 some countries which call themselves Muslims. But do you know that if you want to see all the Muslims, they are only in India. The rest of the Muslim countries fight with each other within Muslim. But what I'm trying to say, that India, Bharat, is all different religions because they call it dharma. Dharma is more universal in nature. Dharma is universal rule or regulations. How I behave with myself, how I behave with others, how I behave with environment, and how I behave with gods. That whole thing becomes a dharma for me. So my dharma to my husband may be a wife dharma. My dharma to my teacher, maybe I'm a teacher, then my dharma is teacher's dharma when I'm there. You understand what I mean? There is not one religion. There is no Hinduism. Hinduism is also given to us by British. They call it Hinduism. But we do not have religions in current terms as you have a prophet or somebody, one person, he's in relation with God, and then usually we have doctrine and we follow the rules and regulation. And if that, Hinduism is not easy in that sense. It is a dharma. Okay, so it changes. It's more versatile. It is more. Anyway, you know about you. Most of you know about Hinduism. So I'm
right. I was going to say, because not to forget that in India, there's a lot of influence from Britain, like you're saying. And
British did not understand it. So they sort of discriminated. They said they are barbarians and stuff like that.
Right. And so there's a lot of influence from there, which influenced into some of the faith.
Names like
the names.
They didn't touch the Hinduism that people are. They still. Our dharma is Dharma, the word dharma is a discipline in which you work. For example, I may tell you, don't shout at the dog. It is his dharma to bark. You understand? So dog
Gotcha.
also has a dharma. He will follow those rules and regulations which are natural to him. You got it?
Right, I gotcha.
So we have
Yes.
dharma for everybody, different. And you can follow any dharma. We have dharma versus religion is the same thing. We don't have a book. We don't have a prophet. We don't have a God, but we can have as many gods as you want, or you have no God, or you can go with one God. So that freedom is there. And that's why we have so many idols in the temple, and people with different different belief in different God, they all come to the same place. You got it. We don't discriminate against the gods as like Islam or I don't know, Christianity had it in
Right.
Ireland and England.
Yes, right. No, I remember when we learned in the other ones that there's monotheistic, and then like in this faith there's many different gods.
God, but it is considered one of the greatest monotheist religion also. And I'll go to the next slide and tell you.
Okay.
And we have faith is something you don't believe in. You need a faith to believe in something. We think our religion is knowledge based, which is Shastra, we call it. Shastra is science. Okay, so everything is knowledge based. Now, if we understand it or don't understand, because they go way beyond your mind and they go to your spirit or Atma and way out there. Okay, it's I'll show you on the next slide how the knowledge is in Hindu. So there is a little thing, we don't take everything for granted. We have to have, you can ask questions, you can disagree with our books, and actually our curiosity is encouraged here. For example, a person came with learning all the things. A student came, his name was Shwetaketu. He came to his guru, his father, and he says, I learned everything. So his father asked, did you know anything about that? By knowing which you know everything. Indian scriptures have a lot of these esoteric questions. Did you see what he said? Do you know about something by knowing which you know everything? And the boy said, no, I don't. My teacher did not taught me that. So he said, go and ask him. So Shwetaketu goes to his guru and he asked him, sir, what is by knowing which I know everything? So the guru said, and you didn't tell me that. So guru said, you didn't ask me. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how the knowledge has been going. It's amazing. The literature there is really amazing. But anyway, so we allow people to ask questions. Most of our literature is because asking a question and the answers. And some of the times you have the same question in your mind and you say, aha, I got the answer. You got it. So if you can write as long as you want, because this is how the knowledge base is. Okay. So there are 4 Vedas. We think these Vedas is the basis of Hindu thought. There are 4 of them. We think no man has written it, and they are there before man was thinking. So I used to think this is a blueprint of the universe. All knowledge is there in these 4. Actually, it was only 1, but then somebody came around 5,800 years ago sometime, and he changed it into 4 because he thinks that our mind span to recite them, etc., is very less. It's going shorter and shorter. So there are 4 Vedas. I'm going to go a little quicker here. 4 Vedas. There are 4 Upa Vedas. Now this earth is like economics. And this Ayu is the Ayurveda. Do you know, this is the basis of our medical information, Ayurveda, this Ayu.
Got you, yes.
And Dhanur is about making weapons, but they talk about metallurgy, and Indian people have a lot of knowledge about how to make the metals, which are still, some people don't know how they come up with, because with British and they sort of destroyed it. They didn't like the competition. Islam used to get the information and cut the fingers off so they cannot produce anymore. That was, we talk about all the other countries like Holocaust and stuff. Nobody talks about what these 2 guys, some of them, not all, have done. They destroyed, they killed, tortured about 80,000 priests because they don't want to change into other religion. Because they thought if they take the temples out and kill the priests, they will get rid of Hinduism. But you will know pretty soon why Hinduism did not go away. But anyway, there are Upanna, they call it Upanna. They are complementary, 4 of them: Chanda, astrology, grammar. Astrology is, you know, Chanda is the musical notes, and all our this knowledge base, that scriptures, I call it, they are written in a musical notes, and this is musical notes. Chanda is how you can write those meters. I was looking into it because I was trying to see how come Indian people, India, I shouldn't say India, but these yogi people, how could they remember exactly the same thing? How could they bring the information from thousands of years ago to now almost at intact form? Because we were trying to make a protocol between 2 computers to speak to each other. And I wanted to see how they do it. Very complex system. Anyway, but that's a different story. Grammar is Sanskrit grammar, which is, they think is now great for computer, intelligent computer. Sanskrit is the language. They think that because of using Sanskrit, they can make the intelligent AI.
Oh, the artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. They think Sanskrit is a better language. I don't know. The subordinates are called law, logic, and yoga. This yoga is connecting your body, mind, and spirit, right? To God, all right? So under the yoga, there are different kinds of yoga. You can get to that spiritual height by dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, sankhya yoga, karma yoga, hatha yoga, mantra yoga, shiva yoga, laya yoga, nada, laya, and ashtanga. All right. In that ashtanga yoga, Patanjali wrote 8 steps to get it there. The 3rd step is asana. And that is the yoga, which is now $10 billion industry.
Oh, I was going to say,
I'm just trying to tell you the extent of it. And now they are adding pranayam to it. So I don't know where they're going. Pranayam is breathing exercises, but they are not breathing. Prana is how your body operates. According to Indian people, unless Hindu, this Vedic knowledge, unless the prana leaves your body, you're not dead. Okay. Okay. So it has a lot of exercises, and we have stories in a lot of things that by acting on prana, you can burn yourself. You understand, a lot of people sit down and they just meditate and the fire burns them and stuff. And it is because of yoga and prana,
Right.
by holding prana. And this samadhi is deep meditation, okay? But asana is what yoga is practice, okay?
That's the yoga that is typically practiced all over. That's
Right.
mainstream, popular, right?
And that is asana. And that is, I'm telling, $10 billion. Just imagine they just dig it everything, how big the industry would be. And it would be not very bad.
Right.
There are 108 Upanishads. These are question and answers. There is a lot of intelligence here because they don't have much story. A lot of it is told by stories. There are 18 Puranas, and they have about billion verses in there. They're 18, but they are big. Ramayana and Mahabharata are called histories. Ramayana talks about Rama and Mahabharata talks about Krishna. In Mahabharata has 0.1 million verses. And among that, 700 verses are called Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And that many people think is our Bible. They bet on it. Because even though they look so much of it, right? The knowledge base is so huge, but they have a tendency to make it very short. For example, all this can be reduced to say, Aham Brahmasmi, means I am the Brahman. Now you ask, who am I? Then there are 108 questions you can answer. Who is Brahman? That you have to know many of this stuff to know what Brahman is. But Aham Brahmasmi means I am that Brahman, the creative force, the essence of the universe. Okay? And then there is Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means you are that. What is that? You are that force. What that force is? That's Brahman. That's the creator. You got it. So many of them are concluded in short lines, verses, or sentences. And that's how you don't have to know everything. You can just play with it if you want to. So this is our knowledge base. All right. And they are very interesting, very interesting. You can use Puran, Ramayana or Mahabharata. There's a lot of wisdom in that, and their story, and they have a very lovely way of telling the stories. At the end of the first chapter, he will ask the question like, and then the answer is in the next one. So they keep you reading. They're very well written material. Even as you won't get Hindu if you read them. You got it? You don't have to believe, but as a good stuff to read. And in actually Mahabharata I was reading, this is the Guinness record, world record. This is the largest music poem that is ever written. 0.1 million verses in that. Now I'm going to talk some of the concepts. Each one of them, of course, is over 2 hours, 3 hours. People talk on it for a day, 2 days, like that. I'm just going to say about monotheism and polytheism. Hindu, Indian, Vedic information is there is only one God, but that God can be goddess, that God can be nothing, that God can be principle, like element, a principle like Brahman. Brahman is not a god. Brahman is
Call from Drowning Donald.
I'm sorry, I cannot do that.
Call from Drowning
And so we have a lot of gods, but there is only one God. All right, there is one essence. We call it tattva. Okay, So Vishnu is a god and he comes thousand different forms and everything, but he has one essence of him. And that essence has no form, nothing. Essence is the power of it. You got it? And in that, we have one essence of in the world, but it can be expressed in many ways. All right. And the thing is that as long as Christina, I think you are different person. I think you have a right to see your God and I have a right to see my God, because we cannot agree as long as I don't see you like me or like divine.
Right, right.
When I see God in you, then there is no difference between you and me. In that way, we all will be one consciousness.
Right, I got it.
Okay, but as long as
Yes.
you're Christian, that's why I told you, I put my what I am that keeps
Right.
me away from what I should be. What I am is I'm a divine person. But that is the next slide. I will just say, so monotheism, they say that we are polytheists because we have so many gods and goddesses, but they don't understand all those gods and goddesses are the powers. Actually, we have 6 different ways of God's power that we can experience on the earth. Now, I'm not going to go into that because I told you that is a long story.
Right.
All right.
And I think what I appreciate about the Vedic or the Vedic Hindu faith is that sometimes the explanation of it sounds complicated, but when it's put into a practical application, you're like, oh yes, now I get it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you put it in a practical application,
And
because
now,
I think from what I remember even from last year is that this faith is a very like logical thinking, like it's a paradigm shift in thinking kind of faith. It's a very thinking, it makes you think. So I get, like, even when you're saying it's
it is the thinking is one thing. The scriptures here make you inquire.
inquire, right? Yes. So I think like why you liked Dr. Aaron Simmons is because he said he is, when he led his discussion on Pentecostals, is because he said he's a philosopher, so he puts the question mark where people put periods. And I almost wanted to say earlier today, it's the Hinduism puts question marks, I think, where people want to put periods.
When you are reading any book, you have a question mark, but it is such a variety of things that you can misinterpret for yours and you can make it a lousy little thing you don't want to look at.
Right.
You
right.
understand? Because
Yes.
you can use it for good thing and bad thing. It doesn't matter to most of the Hindus. Because you take 10 Hindus together, they have different opinion, but they go to the same temple, eat the same food, and pray the same way.
Right.
Got it. Reincarnation and rebirths. This is something that people always talk about, reincarnation. Reincarnations are basically divine. Gods come and they are reincarnations and they are avatars. But reincarnation is of degree of reincarnation. But there is a choice that they come down to the earth in human beings, basically. Rebirths are for people who are bound by the law of karma, which means you do act, right? And because of that, your actions have some fruit of it. We call fruit of the actions, or your actions need to be completed, or they need there is leftover. You do good things, you had a good punya. You do bad things, adharma, you have sins, you can say. But they are your good work does not uh, cancel your sins according to this. So you're good and bad, you have to fill out, you have to live that over for the next life. You got it. So we are bound by karma, so we take rebirths. And you can go, if I treated black people very, very bad this life, next life, I may be treated very bad. You got it. This is
Right,
how
right.
it goes on, because whatever I do, and oh my, this itself is a lovely topic to talk. It's
Right.
very interesting because it is told by a lot of stories. The cycles of creation and dissolutions, we think we are created, and we go back to the tattva, the essence of it, essence of divinity. Okay, so we are created by divinity and we go back to the divinity, and in between we live, and this time from creation to dissolution is Q multiplied by 10 to the power of 18 years, human years. They know it. And whenever we do our prayers, that amazed me. That whenever we do our rituals in temple, they tell you since the earth is since the universe is created, what time it is to the second. Would you believe that? I used to get amazed by that. Anyway, they tell you that you are created and you are going to dissolution. I don't know whether I should tell you here. The creation is written in many places, and whenever they ask me unity in diversity, I used to use this process of creation. Okay, now you use different scriptures, you will have the person who created can be goddess, can be God, or Ishwar, or many things. But once they sit there to create, the creation is done by sankalpa. That means with intentions. God wanted divinity, or God wanted to be many. So he made a sankalpa. He made a, he said that he wanted to be many. And to make many, because if you are only one, you cannot make yourself many unless you add some forces to it. So he added different forces to it. I'm a physicist, so I love that whole process of creation. So he added, say, time, kal, time. He added time to it. So things change if you let them be for a while. Okay. One of them, anyway, what it is, it's he made the sankalpa means he made. He wanted to be many, okay, and then he did it by expanding himself. That is very important. What it means to you and me is, Christina, God wanted to be Christina. There is nobody else in the universe just like Christina. So he expanded himself into Christina. And he put a veil on her eyes, so she doesn't know she is divine. And that is called Maya. Now, Maya itself is very esoteric, whatever you call it. It's a very big subject in itself. Maya. So
Right. Yes.
you have to know that we all are meant to be different. You are different than even every dog. Every ant is different. Everything in the universe is different. It doesn't exist if it is the same. Okay? And it is with divine intention and divine expansion. He expanded himself to be the universe that we see or experience. And dissolution is just going back the same way. And there are different paths for God realization. So anybody can pray any God, anything, as long as once we realize the God, then we are all together in the same plane again. But in between, we can do anything you want to, or do nothing, still okay. What I meant is you don't have, the people who do not believe in God are also can be Hindu. Hindu allows everybody to be Hindu because we think that eventually you will see yourself or get enlightened. Macro and micro nature of the universe. Macro is we see outside world, okay? We see all this outside world. And what it says, it reflects within yourself. Everything outside reflects in you, because you are the source of knowledge to understand everything. Sounds funny, difficult to get hold of it, but I'm not here today to tell you the goody stuff. This thing, for example, I showed you the goddesses. I told you to give attention, so many goddesses, right?
Right.
So those all goddesses are within you. Okay, now see how simple they make it. The goddesses within you have powers. Like the goddess will tell you to go to sleep. So something within you tells you to go to sleep. And then you go to sleep. And then somebody tells you to wake up. And that is the goddess. Somebody tells you to eat. You're hungry. Now you can say there are hormonal things and stuff like that. According to this, when the creation was done, there were different gods within our body. They were controlling different organs, and they are the controllers of you. If you go through physiology, they are, because I got interested, there is a control cell. Your right hand has a control cell, left hand is a control cell. So your right hand becomes right hand, left hand becomes left hand. But within that, your fingers have different work to do. But to keep it all coordinated, you have to have all gods in cohesion to work. So when somebody gets angry, your fingers start hurting. Anyway, that's bizarre. I'm just making a point. But that is what macro and micro means. Everything outside the world is reflected within yourself. So going within yourself, meditation is very important. What you see outside is the physical world. What you say and what you see is not all that is. There is a lot more things you don't see, and because of your eyes have limitations. Everything has limitations. All right. Dualism and non-dualism. This was going for thousands of years. This discussion in Hinduism was going for, and it is still going there. Dualism, in short, I'm taking it in short. Okay. Dualism is you and the creator are different. Me and God are different. And non-dualism is called Advaita. Means it's all one. Okay. So this particular thing bothers a lot of people. And there were a lot of discussions in, as long as like recently, like 300 AD, I think, there were this discussion going on still. Is dualism or Advaita or Dvaita? Is that, what is it? And there are very few people who were, okay. So dualism and non-dualism is important. Like many of religions think me is different, this other guy is different, and God is different. Or me is, you understand what I mean?
Right, yes.
Between me and what I want to achieve are two different things. We are on two different levels. Okay. Advaita says, no. Everything is one. You just don't know it. And to know it, you go ahead, you read those and you practice this, you do sadhanas and yogas and all that. Okay. But I have a surprise for you. And what we have, moksha is a spiritual freedom, and that is the highest goal we want. We want spiritual freedom. And spiritual freedom is the enlightenment. Okay, we have a lot of scriptures devoted to that, knowing yourself. It is called moksha. Okay.
My friend had a place in Greenville. She and it had all different types of things you could do inside it, and she called it moksha. It was very interesting.
Yeah, I bet as soon as this word gets popular, there will be moksha this, moksha that, moksha is sense and all that. That
Yes.
I went up just like yoga, But
Right.
I appreciate the way it is taken out and developed within as a business. You got it. But moksha, there are 4 things a person should achieve in his life. One is like dharma. He has to live by the rules and universal rules and regulations. Then there is artha, that is you can work and get money for it, but with dharma in it. And then there is kama is sensuality. You should enjoy your life within limits of dharma, procreate and all that. And then moksha. Moksha is the last goal of it. And people say, if you don't get moksha, you wasted your life. You can earn, you can have a lot of fun, you can make a lot of money, you can follow the dharma, do every ritual in the book, but still without moksha, you have not wasted, you have another chance and another chance. But next, what I'm going to show you is going to blow your mind. Oh, according to Vedic Shastra, now here we go. Gross body is what you and I have, which has all sense organs and action organs, hands, legs, all that. Okay, the 10, 10 goes to 16. Okay, all these, which is the physical body. Okay, then there is a subtle body, which includes mind, intelligence, and ego. Now, many people have 7 bodies, 5 bodies, and all that. But this is, I'm talking about Mundak Upanishad, which is a different idea. And I picked it up because it's easy to explain and experience and understand, just like I told about goddesses, right? So you can understand this. Then there is a causal body, which is awareness, and there is Atman, which is Atman is your spirit. So getting spirit. So why do I have to tell you all this? Because you experience it every day. How do you experience? Your human body containing senses, and it is called waking consciousness, body consciousness. But in Sanskrit, it is called Jagrut Avastha. You understand your gross body by the body, your hands, legs, and all that, sense organs. You know, this is my body, or this is me, Shail. Then there is a subtle body, which includes mind, intelligence, and ego. Our mind does not live in your brain. Brain goes into this. It just makes things, but mind influences your body. And it let you do a lot of things which you meant it or not. But it is a subtle body. It does not have the weight. Okay, you cannot say where your mind is. Like Christina is saying, she may be in India, or she may. You can sit here and go anywhere you want, because your mind is a subtle body. You got it. Your intelligence is buddhi, which means Buddha. Buddha is called Buddha, who is steadfast in his buddhi, which is intelligence. Okay, it includes all your memories, actions, and this intelligence, perceptions. It influences your mind to do something. Your mind tells your body to go rowing or lift a thing. Your hand won't lift anything unless somehow the mind tells it to do it. And mind tells us by intelligence, because that is where the perception is. And ego is me. My sense of being is my ego. But what do I do to that? Slide number 1. What did I tell there? I said, Shaila is Indian. Shaila has a master's degree. Shaila is a woman. Shaila is this and that. That all is ego. So that ego intelligence influence your mind, and mind does things with your body. And what happens when you are sleeping, when you go to sleep, you go from gross body consciousness to the subtle body consciousness, which you are dreaming. When you are dreaming, your body is paralyzed, actually, semi-paralyzed. But there is no input from your body. All input is from these three guys. Okay? And that is your dream state. There are a lot of questions asked in our scripture. The king says, when I was awake, I was a king, went to sleep and I was a beggar. What is true? What is true? And guess what his guru told him? None of those.
And I find it so interesting that the faith goes into this much detail.
They can go to mind like many layers in intelligence,
right,
ego.
Right. As I know you're just giving like the Cliff Notes version of it, but it's very
because they're easy to let you know the extent of it. They're
right.
just coming into mind area.
Right.
And when they were talking about my daughter is a psychiatrist, and they are there and they're still using drugs to get your mind off and consciousness.
Right.
The third one is a causal body. This is the deep sleep. Every day you go from waking state to dream state to deep sleep. Very important part of your sleep. You need that. Did you see that every day you go from gross sensation to subtle sensation when you start dreaming about it, and then your causal, where both of these states, body state and your subtle mind state, they sort of dissolve into deep sleep. And that time your ego, clear ego, not the ahankar, only the ego saying that I am, that's it, I am.
Right.
Because when you are in deep sleep, you know that you are in deep sleep. You understand? And when you get up from there, you say, oh, I had a very nice sleep. You understand? So you were aware of that causal body, where both these senses do not, they are not there. You are not dreaming, you are not, there is no, that's why many times they say what you see is illusion.
Right.
When you're sleeping, your body, what your body was saying was a state of illusion. Okay, now I'm not going to go into it because this is more confusing.
So before we go on further, I know Rick wanted to, he had to go. He's saying thank you very much. He has to go. I'm curious on if anybody has any.
Go to the fourth state because
okay. Oh yeah. Yes.
This is the Atman state. It is called the fourth state. Okay, this is called Jagrut, this is called Swapna, and this is called Sushupti. When both of these are not there, it is called Sushupti, your first deep sleep state. And here you are aware of your existence, consciousness, and bliss. And you are touching the Atman. Most of us don't go to that state. Okay, but some of the great souls can realize that state and stay in that state, and they become the extraordinary. They become the great gurus, they become the seers, they become the prophets, because they are in this state all the time. Now, Atman, this state of the fourth state, is becoming popular in some part of the intellectual world. So they call this, this is in Sanskrit, it is Turiya state. People call it pure consciousness. I saw a physicist calling it unified field state. You know, unified field, that is the thing Newton was very confused about. What is that field? He did not know what to call. So he said unified field. A lot of physicists are sweating on this, what is the nature of unified field. And this guy I talked to, I heard him, he's a physicist, and he's talking about unified field to be the Atman state. Okay, I was very surprised. Then
Yeah,
this is
very
the
interesting.
enlightenment. This is the spirit when it comes to you, or self-realization, moksha, or spiritual freedom. You can take anything you want. Okay, or you can compose your own word here. But in that state of consciousness, okay, now I'm going to show you my last one. That state is non-dual. Non-dual means that state you become the universe. Everything in your universe becomes one with you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is knowledge based. It has all the knowledge you need to know. Some people put it like that. In this side, I had a questions, but no answers. On this state, I have all the answers, but no questions. That's the total knowledge state. All right, that's why it is blissful. You are at peace because you don't have any curiosities left over. But this is what I like it the most. Space and time independent. I'm discussing one of the Gita called Ashtavakra Gita, which discusses only these things. Okay, only this. It is a discussion. Like Gita talks about Arjuna and Krishna. Okay, here there are two enlightened people talking to each other. What do they talk? They don't have questions. Both of them don't have questions. They have all the answers. But anyway, space-time independent, space and time are joined in our experience. Okay, what it means? Space means, if I put it in a short, when I die, I'll go to heaven. All right. All right. So when I die, is a time-dependent thing. Here, you live in a present tense, indefinite. Indefinitely in present state. When they talk to you nowadays, don't dwell on your past, don't look into future and waste your present, right?
Right.
In this particular state, you are indefinitely in present state. There is no yesterday, there is no tomorrow. So you don't die and you are not born again. This is a state, and space is here and there. You know, I will go to heaven. No, heaven, you encompass whole thing. Got it? Just think about it. There is no space and time, and it is complete, which means Purnam. Complete means there is nothing lacking. If you take part of it, both the parts are totally complete. You cannot take, and it is not like your Atman and my Atman. Got it, Joanne? We are in the same Atman, and it is effulgent. It is self-enlightened. The light is within yourself. In there, you have, in nature, we say sun. Sun has light, right? And somebody said that in the afternoon meeting, the sun lights the moon. Moon receives the light and shows it to me. So both sun and moon get light. But if the sun is not there, moon does not have a light. You got it? So one bhati means he is lighted, okay? And other is anubhati, means he reflects the light. And because of the reflection, moon's existence is seen. You got it? All
Yes.
right. You got it real good, right? Because I'm going to go a step further. You got that idea. According to this, you are Bhati. Nothing in the universe does not exist if you do not have that light within yourself, and rest of the world is anubhati.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the power of Atman, self-realization. You got it?
Yes.
Very,
Yep.
it
Yep.
wasn't told for a long time because people may make an industry out of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it is not told. But I wanted to tell it to someone who are different than my group that I may discuss it. You understand? I wanted to talk it to Christina and Joanne and all that because I sometimes sort of ask the question, like I asked, what is your eternal state? Okay. Now,
Mhm.
if you have a second, I can tell you more that the condition they explain it, okay, is that you are the ocean and your life and all those other things are little waves. Without the ocean, the waves do not exist, but they are just the little experience within the ocean. And what is the big problem between me understanding the Atman is my ego telling me I'm Shaila Shroff, I'm this and I'm that. You got it. And
Mhm.
one of the great saint wrote it that when I was there, I could not see God. Okay. I could not see God in there.
Right.
But when I knew God, I wasn't there. You got it. So
Right.
that
Right.
state
Right.
is totally divine. But for that, you have to forget me and mine, which in fact is transitory. Because before you were born, you were there. Your body is just a, so you will see in our scripture saying that body is just a old cloth. You get rid of it and you go to the next one. It is ready for you then. You got it. Many of our rituals and everything are around that. Besides, I told you that we have these rituals we do. We have this Veda Vakya saying that you are Brahman. All right. We also had a lot of mantras, powerful mantras. Om is one of them. If you keep doing Om, and if you can really get the sense and just reverberate it within your body, then you will see that that Om thing, Om is a mantra, one letter mantra. Om is a hum of the universe. You can connect yourself to the universe by just saying Om. You got it. Powerful mantras, powerful mantras.
Yeah, I
So
remember learning that that was like supposedly the first word spoken
we use it on everything. We
on
need to
everything.
use
Yes.
it a lot. Like Om Ram Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. What it means, you are so complete that you are totally complete. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. It is so complete that if you take a piece of it, that piece becomes complete. Like from Brahman, you are there. You are a complete person. Okay? And you are within the complete, and your outside is complete. It is a total completeness that described for this word Atman. Atman is total. It says Atman tadaijat om tadaijati tadaijati tadure tadvantike. It says you walk, you don't walk. You are far away, you are very close. Everything
Right.
is in
Right.
you, and you are everything. You got it. That's the completeness they talk about. Okay. And I wanted to tell you the last piece of it. This is within yourself. You don't have to do this. You don't have to. Actually, if you are in this position, all these shastras, all these Vedas, and all this knowledge is useless because you are beyond the knowledge, beyond the words, beyond the descriptions. You have to rise above all that, and all you have is this Atman. This is the purified enlightenment state. These also don't tell it. This is, I have to tell you because I have to use some language. But actually, if you sit close to each other, that time, one time when gurus were strong and the shishas were good, they can just sit next to each other and they will get this knowledge. Because this knowledge is experience-based. It's not word knowledge. You have to be smart and stuff to be at that space. Okay. Shall I tell you a little, do we have oh my, we are 18 minutes ahead.
Yeah, I was going to see if anybody had any questions first, because I know that was a lot of information downloaded, and
I got excited in some places because you all are listening to it.
I was going to see if anybody had any questions or had any thoughts on anything. I'm 41 now, and when I was in my 20s, I did a program called the Landmark Forum, and a lot of it broke it down to a lot of paradigm shifts in thinking. And so as you're speaking, some of the conversation I know that we had, that was like a personal growth oriented conversation, is coming back to me in some of the knowledge that you're speaking. But I will say, what made it so very fun when I had this Landmark Forum experience in my 20s was that the facilitator was a Sikh in India, from India, and he actually came in and he led the whole long weekend, and it took a little bit to get used to listening to him, to hear everything. But I have a feeling like his way of being able to explain everything to all of us probably derived from his upbringing in knowledge, because I feel like in the culture and the faith of that comes from the India area, there's a lot more delving into the mind and how the mind works, and how
the mind is there in most of them, but this self-realization, while you are alive, you can be in heaven. That idea is not there in Sikhism, or it is not in Jainism. Buddhism doesn't care about it. This is not their nirvana. They don't care about it, whether because they don't have God or something like God. These people see divinity in everything. These are the people like, say, Jesus Christ, say. He doesn't see difference between the two. And he has to tell that, but he probably didn't know how to tell it to all the people then, but they are in that state.
So and am I right too, like the I was trying to think when you were saying that there is the one God, and then that there's all of the other gods below it, but it's like it's a piece of the essence, I would say, of that
because you
God.
need many people to build a car.
Right.
Okay, there is one designer.
There's one car.
Electrical system, this system, that system, to put it together and run.
Am I correct that is Shiva in the right? Is that is that Shiva?
It can be Shiva, that can be goddess, that can be Krishna.
Okay.
And then because there is Krishna, we have a lot of literature like devoted to him. I don't think Rama has, but they all are divine to a degree. But I wanted to tell you an experience of a saint, and then you can ask me questions, okay? That will make it all together.
Okay.
So this is a saint, his name is Rameshwar. He left his body. He didn't live, but he took the samadhi when he was young, was 26 years old. He wrote a lot of things during. Fantastic guy. and he can reach to the people. He said his god was Vittala, which is Vishnu's reincarnation. He came just to see his devotees. But anyway, Vittala. Vittala, by the way, is a very good name if you have a heart attack or you suspect heart attack. You say Vittala, 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 Vittala. It gives you that push to your heart to postpone it until somebody comes and helps you. Like they tell you to cough, because people sing that and a lot of their ailments go away, especially breathing. But anyway, his god was Vittala. And one day he was praying Vittala, and all of a sudden he didn't even close his eyes for a moment. And he saw the effulgence, all the light coming from it, all this divine light coming from it. So he wanted to hold his legs and put his feet and put his head on it. And when he was looking for it, he couldn't find his feet. So he opened his eyes and looked around. He couldn't see that his feet anywhere around. And then he looked and he saw this particular Vittala being all around him in everything, just wearing different clothes. He said, by using different skin, he was all around him. What he means is God is in everything. He saw that.
Right.
And then he said, it goes in, then he wanted to hug him and all that. He wanted to talk to him, but he realized he was talking to himself. There was no other. Okay. And it was a very good experience. And then finally he said, Vittala, you are ununderstood. We don't understand you at all. I cannot fathom you. Earlier, I used to think you are this black idol with the clothes on and stuff like that. But now I know I cannot understand you at all. And he says, because you are the greatest actor playing this drama of life. You got it? So all we see, we are in a drama. This is like a dream, physical dream that we have. That's why it is called illusion. We see this physical dream in which everybody, Joanne here is wearing green thing with you understand, she is divine, wearing those clothes, doing her job at whatever life allows her to do. You got it? Now, I wanted to say, usually whenever we talk about unity in diversity, I always used to talk about the beginning, that we are created. And I can talk about 2 hours on that, but I don't. So diversity and unity can be explained because I haven't become Shaila yet. You got it? Shaila, what it means, I wrote it in the first one. That is not me. That are all my packaging. There is a word in Sanskrit for that. That is all packaging. And we recognize, we deal with the packaging than what it is inside. And inside is divinity. And for this is your basic identity, that you are divine.
Right.
When you drop everything, you are divine.
MB.
We hang on to those things, and you know how they tell you how we are hanging on to it? They catch parrots in India. What they do, they put a string and they put the parrots on it, and the parrot holds on to the string, doesn't realize that he can fly away and be free. They hold on to the string, and then the catcher just goes, puts them in the cages. So we hold on to our life like that. If I let it go, I won't be Shaila, I won't have all those things. And I don't know what my life will be without it. So I hang on to it so tightly that I cannot see my original nature. Did you get it?
Right. Yep. MB, I was curious if you had a question. I saw that you unmuted yourself.
Well,
I
I know this is the last of the tour of faiths, and I appreciate very much what the Atlantic Institute has done. You have really done a tremendous job of putting all this together. As I listened to Shayla this evening, we are, let's see if I can hold this up. Can you read this title? Holy Envy by Barbara Brown Taylor.
Oh, yes.
We are reading this book in Sunday school, and it is she in fact uses a physical tour of faith to teach classes at Piedmont College, where she's retired now, but she taught the course there. The tour that probably opened the minds of her students the most was that temple in Atlanta that Shayla showed us. I thought it was very interesting and a fitting way to end the tour of faith that we have gone on during the month of July with the Atlantic Institute. So thank you, Shayla, and thank you, Christina, for all you've done.
I don't know who is more happy, me or you, because I wanted to tell it to someone. I always ask questions and people are interested in it, but I couldn't put it together. Like, it's deep. It's way, way deeper than what I can tell. But I'm glad I could make it in shorter.
It is. It is. Bob, would you like to unmute yourself and share about what you're reading right now in the book that you said you're reading in?
Yeah, okay. The Bhagavad Gita as it is what I'm reading right now. So this has been very interesting for me.
Bob,
Yes.
you have to keep in mind that that particular purport or the explanation given by the person is a devotee of ardent devotee of Krishna. You got it?
Yes.
So maybe you can read the scripture, the meaning of it, and just don't take it very seriously what he writes as explanation for it. But there is a lot of other information there.
Yeah, well, I've got other versions of it too that I have read, and we'll read some more to get a more well-rounded perspective on it.
Yeah, that is one of the books I would give to someone, because you see this discussion between Krishna and Arjuna is applies to everybody. Okay.
Yes.
There are so one of the person says, whenever he says Krishna, when Krishna says to Arjuna something, put your name in there. Did you get that idea?
What? Repeat? Could you repeat that?
It says Bhagwan Vacha, where God said something to Arjuna. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the most commented people, from Einstein to almost everybody. It is a must for everybody to go read it, because it concludes a lot of things about Hinduism, much of it. But whenever he says Bhagwan Vacha, means Bhagwan said, and this discussion is between Bhagwan and Arjun only. And Arjun is confused about something he thinks he should do, but he doesn't want to do it because it has some other implications.
Yes, like fighting. Arjuna did not want to fight.
He does not want to fight.
But Krishna says you must fight. He
doesn't say you must fight, but he tells him all the ways that it is okay to fight. Finally, he gives that decision to Krishna, to Arjuna. But when you are reading it, there are a lot of different names of Arjuna used there, Parantapa, Parthe or something. Instead of his name, you put your name. You say Bob. Krishna is telling to Bob, and then you will understand what he's talking about. It's very amazing, because we think that when Krishna talks, it is the God talking to you. You got it?
Yes.
It has become so, it can bring some of the ideas are way out of, they are same thing, what I was talking about, but not in same approach they have. But it's an amazing book if you want to read it. Well, Bob, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to let you know, Joan was saying, thank you so very much. You have reiterated my love of theosophy and the various religions. I loved your presentation, Shayla, and thank you very much for this. She says, Christine, I've enjoyed these various presentations throughout the series. So thank you so very much for giving us this last presentation and for being so descriptive in everything you're sharing. Do we have anybody else that has any other questions? Because it is 7:30, so I want to make sure that we we do get going if we need to, if we need to get going. I just want to make sure if we have anybody else that has any other questions. Thank you so very much for putting together.
I should say thank you, Christina, for putting all together. I tried to get as many as possible, but it was a good idea to get everybody, especially on virtual was great.
You did great. And there's a few, the Quakers I know, and the virtual one on Islam that we did not get to record, that I really wish both of those were able to have been recorded. We just had technical difficulties doing it, and they were really great to hear and to learn about. And I'm sorry those got missed this year to be recorded, so people could watch them later.
I missed Quaker, but the Islam was a young fellow. He did a great job.
He did, yeah, he did a great job.
Very
on it.
good.
I thought he was very good. So, and I think this was really great this year. And I have to figure out what I'm going to end up doing next year. I have to figure. I keep thinking I can't keep doing every year. I mean, you know, but I will say I have learned new things every year. So, I mean, it has really helped. I would have thought I would have known the same things. You could probably repeat half of this next year even, and it would
Oh, I can take one of the things.
hit different spaces is what it does. Is it hits different
Yeah.
spaces.
See,
So,
I'm 75 this year. So I don't think I will have a lot of time to tell what I have to say, deliver. I'm terrible in writing and publishing. I left that. So
right.
only by talking, and you gave me the platform to say. So I'm relaxed now. I can die tomorrow. I'm just saying.
Okay, but don't.
No, but it makes me feel that, oh, I told it to a few people. It's very important for a person to know about it, whether you believe it or not, whatever it is. And it is an experience of a lot of people to be in this state.
Right.
A surgeon, an artist, whenever he's working on something and forget his life, his mind, he just totally focused on it, he reaches that state. And then the ideas will come from heaven to him. Actually, they come within himself. And
Right.
that is the state for momentarily. It is very difficult to keep it at that state.
Right.
But many people stay in that state and still come to this, our world, and work with other people, plant trees if you want. They do extraordinary work
Right.
in the world too. They are very extraordinary people. Anyway.
Yes. Well, very good. Thank you.
It could be. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
We're going to stop your screen sharing so we can see everybody here. And we'll stop our recording. So